Do you feel drowned in diet options and unsure if you've chosen the right thing to heal your chronic illness? Let's navigate these waters together and talk about how you find your perfect healing plan. Later in the video, I'm going to talk about how I found the perfect plan for me and how I made it my own. Hi, I'm Rachel, your guide to overcoming the emotional challenges in your chronic illness recovery. My first tip for choosing the right healing plan for you is that you find something that makes you feel relaxed about the rules. If what you're choosing has so many rules and those rules make you feel overwhelmed or so boxed in that you feel like you can't breathe, rules are guidelines, but if they start to feel like laws, that can come with a whole load of pressure, and that pressure can be a source of stress and anxiety. When we spend all our time worrying about how we're going to be able to stick to the rules of a protocol, our body is not in a healing state. I see clients who present with a lot of food rules and anxieties about their ability to stick to their healing protocols. And these greatly add to their stress levels, which is why this is so important. We've got no air conditioning in our flat, so I'm going to probably be sweating a lot in this video. Here's a really easy exercise you can do to find out if you're viewing your protocol's rules as laws or guidelines. When you think about the rules of the protocol, if you feel some tightness or tension in the body, or you find yourself taking a sharp intake of breath and a breath that you're holding, then that tells me that you're looking at these rules as laws. That's a sign that there's something not right with your relationship with your plan. And so you need to decide whether it's right for you or whether you can find a way to change your relationship with that plan so that the pressure is off. The next thing to look at in your plan is that it's sustainable. I know that a raw vegan diet is completely unsustainable for me, and that's even though I love raw food and I've been known to nibble on raw broccoli from time to time. But the thing is, I also love potatoes and beans, and I've done enough eating plans over the year to know that raw vegan will be completely unsustainable. And so some protocols require huge changes, and how you approach those changes will really determine whether it's something you can stick to or not. So if you feel like you've got to completely turn your life upside down in order to get started, that might not be the plan for you. It's important to remember that you're choosing a way of eating and supplementation that's going to be in your life for the longer term, not 1 or 2 months. So it doesn't matter how amazing the plan is or how many influencers have said that they've healed using it. If you can't stick to it, it is not the plan for you. Healing is a long game, so you need to choose something that is sustainable and that you can keep up consistently. Otherwise, you're just going to end up in that cycle where you try to eat that way, then you cheat, and then you beat yourself up. And that's not to say that you can't start something and just evolve it over time. But if you think about that eating plan with a sense of dread, it really opens you up to that self-sabotage guilt cycle. On the other hand, you could be obsessing about what you're missing out, and that's a real no-no too. You need to feel, if not excited about what you're eating, but at least content. Whatever you're doing shouldn't be a source of emotional turmoil, because chronic illness alone has enough of that. I remember doing a high carb, low fat diet back in the day, and it was such a massive shock to me physically and emotionally. And I'm generally one of those people who, once I start something, I stick to it, but I lasted 3 weeks. And the getting started is the issue. You need something you can grow into, not something that makes you feel like you need to do it all at once. So choose something that's natural stages so you can add things in and take them out when you're ready. If you've tried just about every eating plan out there and you're still struggling to recover, check out my free training, because the reason you're not healing may not be about diet at all. It allows you space for other things in your life. There is nothing that opens us up to a bad relationship with food than a healing plan that is completely all-consuming. Healing is about balance, and in order to recover, we need to restore that balance and really start to live a life before we've healed in any way that we can. So choose something that doesn't feel like you're shutting your life down, or doesn't feel like so much that instead of being active self-care, it becomes this endless to-do list. You will resent it otherwise. Whatever you choose needs to make room for family, for friends, for rest, relaxation, and also some hobbies. Like all these tips, it's an individual thing. One person's joy is another person's drudge. Life happens, and that means that whatever you're doing for your health has to be able to adapt. Whether it's the cost or availability of food, holidays, family visits, energy fluctuations. So I can only speak for the UK, but I'm pretty sure this is happening globally. The price of food has become crazy. And so the plan that we follow needs to be able to adapt to that and not box us in. A flexible eating plan gives you options when you're not at home or when you don't have the energy to prepare food. I remember years ago, a plan I was on, I was starving every time I went somewhere, and it caused a lot of anxiety for me. I had a lot of food sensitivities, and I understand when you are dealing with food sensitivities, it can be hard to find things to eat in the first place. But when you're looking at a plan to follow, ask yourself, how easy is it for me when I go out to find things to eat? How easy is it for me to take things? A rigid plan that doesn't adapt to your life can lead to unnecessary guilt and anxiety. That's where those thoughts, I won't heal because I didn't follow the diet perfectly today, come in. Your emotional well-being is central to your recovery. Stress causes inflammation and greatly influences the state of our nervous system. So if you're contemplating your current protocol or considering starting a new one, don't forget to check in with your emotions and your nervous system. Their state can be a valuable compass, really guiding you towards the right choice for you. So here's how I finally chose the plan that worked for me and was able to make it my own. The 5 things that I've talked about were my non-negotiables when I first started Medical Medium. I had spent decades eating things and following plans that made me miserable, and I'd had enough. I realized it was going to take me a while to heal, so I'd better find something that got me excited about food again. After going all in overnight on previous plans, I decided that I was going to ease into this one. And so it took me many months before I was even just doing the basics. Sometimes I felt like I was chained to the kitchen, and that's when I had to start looking for those hacks so that I could stay on the plan. And I prioritized the supplements that I bought so that I wasn't feeling anxious all the time about the cost. So I would make my own liposomal vitamin C. I'd buy powders for things that perhaps were more expensive in a capsule form, and just really prioritize them. For a long time I didn't travel following Medical Medium, but when I started I looked at taking simple things like big bunches of bananas or a box of medjool dates, just so that I wasn't hungry when I went out. And after nearly 30 years of trying different ways of eating, this works incredibly well for me. When we start new plans, we're always looking for those little signs that we've chosen the right thing and that the plan is working. Watch this video next because I'm going to take you through 5 signs of recovery that you might be overlooking.